Thank you. I'm very pleased to be here, and it's a pleasure to be participating in a CSAN's event like this one. I've been working with digital strategies the last 20 years. I was building up a consultancy agency business in the 90s, which was quite big. It's listed on the stock exchange in Oslo today, and 1 billion in revenue, and I think it's more than 1,000 employees in that business. Then I had a period where I did quite a lot of other things, and actually all these animals and the kids, they are constantly reminding me that there is a real life also, besides all these digital strategies and work that we have been doing. But I'm back this year. Last year I went into a company that is a traditional advertising agency. You know, the digital transformation is not only present in the media business, it's also very, very strong presence in the advertising business. And when I started in Dynamo, I started as a chief digital officer, and my job was to find the right digital direction for the company. It was very traditional. My concern was that my only job could be just to improve the digital skills in an agency working with radio, television, newspapers, magazines. And that was not my strategy. I wanted to find a digital strong direction which was based on maybe game-changing technology that could give the real answers to the advertisers, the main challenges that they are struggling with today. And I found a technology, not in Norway, but I found it in France. I found an international company working in 2 offices in US, 1 in UK, in Brazil, France, Spain, and they were looking for a partner in Norway or the Nordics. And this technology is what we call algorithmic attribution, not the simple methods to measure where the conversions are really happening, but to look at all the touch points between a lot of digital channels and cross-device also. So this was the starting point. Coming from the traditional madman side of the advertising business, working with mass media, making communication for a lot of people, but not personal. It's using the traditional medias. My job was to create the other side, which is data-driven. It's math, it's statistic, it's algorithms, and it's seamless integration between all the digital channels. And I think we, during the last 9 months, has been creating a kind of new culture in the traditional agency, Dynamo, which is now combining these 2 worlds, because the traditional world is also very important to create a brand awareness, brand marketing. Good communication has to be a very big part of the data-driven side too. What we see is that there is a lot of mega trends which is really speeding up the evolution on the internet, and I will take you through what I think is 7 mega trends very quickly, just to tell you why the digital marketing is changing so much these days. The first one is the smartphone. Coming in 2007, it changed how we are using the internet, because it's not on the desktop anymore, it's actually in our pocket. And we are using the mobile to pay for services, to pay for products. We are using the mobile to email, everything that we can do business just on this supercomputer. The other trend is that everything is personalized. All the communication is targeted one-to-one. We want to find the right customer for the product all the time. Third, the social media is really a huge change in how brands can communicate their strength and their awareness. Because before the social media, it was the brands, the producers that really had the influence. After the social media, it's you and me that decides the brand's reputation, because we always publish, we always mean something, we always express something about the brands. And that is changing the way we can communicate to people. The mobile is also becoming the wallet, so we can use the mobile to pay for a lot of different services. And then we have the cloud, also very important, because it's never been more easy to start up a business today. We can just take what we need from the cloud. It can be software, it can be whatever we need. We don't have to invest in the same way as I did in the 90s when I was starting up a company. Then I had to invest a lot in hardware, in desktops, in software. We don't need to do that anymore. The cloud is providing us whatever we need. And then we, of course, have the big data, because big data is really changing the marketing. In ESV Dynamo, we say that using customer data, that's the way we change the marketing and improve the marketing. Not having this insight, what's happening between all these digital channels, if you don't have this insight, you just know how your site is performing and how the Google ads are performing and how you're doing in the Google channels, but you don't know anything between what's happening between all these channels. And that's what we are working with. And then I just bring it up. It's a few years ahead, but when we have Internet of Things, I think we will again see a revolution in how we can make businesses. It will change the business models for a lot of companies, and it will create a lot of new opportunities. So, the beauty of the digital, as my French boss used to call it. What is it? We can collect data, we can measure everything, and we can analyze this data. And this is the insight that every advertiser needs to have to improve the marketing. So that's the beauty of digital. And then we come, what is really performance marketing? What is performance marketing for big advertisers? To my opinion, that is to use the data to improve customer experience and turning the data into growth and profit. Everything we do in ESV Dynamo is to really optimize, to maximize, to change perhaps the media mix, because we see because we have the insight on how the different media channels are working together. And that is, I will come back to what algorithmic attribution really is. But before, we see that every advertiser, 94% of the marketers are using the web as a part of their cross-channel mix. The web is still, the web page, homepage is not dead. Really, a lot of advertisers are investing to become very strong in their own digital media. And the web page is very important. In my perfect world, the web page is using like Seasons technology. To make the data profiles, we know everything about our customers, our users, our readers. That's the basic technology that you have to put into the website. And when you have this insight on your website, you can do the performance marketing much more sophisticated. You can do it much more smarter than anyone else. It can be the website can be the starting point for retargeting new and existing clients. It can be you can build a strong CRM strategy based on emails. If you know who your customers are, who the profile is, you can target, you can send emails and you can target the customers in a very, very personal, sophisticated and smart way. And you can also have you should have a very strong search engine optimization, and of course the paid search, like search engine advertising. And then it comes to the display, which I know that a lot of publishers in this room are concerned about. What is going to happen with the display ads in the future? Will they survive? What about ad blocking? And so on. If you look at this mix with the web site in the middle, every website, even if you are a bank or a publisher or a retailer, you need to use the social media, the Google search engine companies. You need to use email and display to distribute your products. And this is going both ways, because if you have a web site with very strong knowledge about who your customers are, then you can also use all the distributors much more efficient. Let us see how the US biggest advertisers in US, how they invest. You see the blue area up to the right. That's the area where the big and bigger advertisers are investing this year. And you see that email is coming back. Email is maybe having not the best reputation the last years, but email is very important for all advertisers today. What happens with the ad blockers? Is it 30% of the users? Are they ad blockers in Norway? We don't know, but we know that this trend is dangerous and that it's increasing. You also see that the big advertisers are investing a lot already in social media, and they will still invest a lot in social media. And web analytics, you have online customer data, you have SEO, search ads, and when it comes to the companies that are growing really fast, you see that customer reviews and communities, personalization, and mobile-specific communication is the investments that these companies are doing. What we think is that if you see the square box here, we are putting up a company together with this French owner, which is existing since 2004. The technology is proven. We are putting up a company that is going to serve the advertisers on these services. Because we think here is the growing market for advertisers in the next year. And we used to talk about multi-channel. I say yesterday we talked about multi-channel, but that was silo-based thinking, how to handle each channel in the best possible way. Today we talk about omni-channel marketing. It's cross-device, it's cross-channels, and there is a seamless integration between all these different devices and all these different channels. Everything is connected, everything is seamless, and everything is, the consumer is not really thinking about who and where, which channel. He is just using a lot of these channels in the same time before he do the most important thing, to convert, to read, or to click, or to buy. Let me take a few facts before I start to explain what algorithmic attribution is. 70% of the marketers are using 7 channels to target customers in cross-channel campaigns. That's the average. Some use 2-3 channels, but the average is using 7. It could be Facebook, it could be YouTube, it could be display ads through Google Network, it could be ads in newspapers, it could be SEO, SEA in Google. It's a lot of many different channels, and they work together. Successful cross-channels marketer, they integrate digital and offline data across multiple systems. How can we know that maybe 30% of the internet user are spending 30% of the time on the internet, and the 70% of the time they are offline. So how can we connect the offline users with the online users? How can we make the total and know how to integrate between these two worlds? That's one of the challenges. Marketers segments customer space, they enjoy 6 times greater NSP, like brand awareness, than those who don't. That's a fact, given by a recent report from Aberdeen Group. That was one of the key findings in their survey. So, what is the 2 main challenges for digital marketers? This is based on a survey made by with 190 Norwegian advertisers this year. And they tell us that they have 2 main challenges. One of the challenges is that they are not sure what works within digital marketing. Which channel is the most makes the most influence to bring readers to our site, to convert, or to download apps from digital channels? They don't know. That's a headache for advertisers today. The second is that they don't know how to measure effect cross channels or cross devices, because we are always measuring from one channel. It's like silo. based. We know what happens within the Facebook channel. We know what happens in Google Analytics. But we do not know the effect between the channels. How are they working together? And what we know is that data improve complex customers' journey. The customer journey has never been more complex than today. It can start about brand awareness. You can use PR, print, TV, radio, word of mouth, online ads, email, pay-per-click. That's where we are going to put the media spend from our clients into our trading desk. And we do that with $300 million each year. That's the media spend in ESV Dynamo, in ESV Digital. When we have put all this media spend and invested in different channels, then we have the next phase where the customer is do the consideration through social ads, reviews, blogs, media, direct mail, e-commerce. In the purchase phase, you go to the store, you have the website, you go somewhere where you can buy the product. And after that, you have to make retention. That could be community forums, it can be frequently asked questions, knowledge bases to keep the contact with your clients. And then you are going to promote, to blog, and continue this life circle on in the digital world. But it's never been more complex. What is working? What is working not so good? Everything is working, but what is working? What is driving traffic? What is driving conversions? That's the main issue. So to address these challenges, that was my hope. I hope to find the answer that the advertisers were struggling with last year. And in my opinion, there is just one way to address these challenges, and that is not the simple classic methods to do attribution, but it's just one reliable way to do it, and that's algorithmic attribution. What is algorithmic attribution? This is the classic models that we all know. The most famous one is last click. We give all the benefits to the last click. But what happens before you do the last click in your direct channel? Maybe you do the last click in Google. And now we know that the social medias like Twitter and Facebook and YouTube are coming with buy buttons that you can do the conversion inside Facebook channel or inside YouTube or Twitter. What is driving the user into these channels? That's the answer. It's not so important to see what's the last click are. What we always do in ESV is to compare algorithmic attribution to all these simple methods. And then we can see that it's a huge gap between what the results are. So algorithmic insight, that means there is no simple attribution method. It doesn't exist. To know the true performance of an acquisition strategy, you have to manage the media mix, and it's necessary to understand the influence of all marketing channels on the different types of consumer. Does it seem like a good insight to have if you were an advertiser? Does it seem like a good insight to have if you are a publisher and the advertisers tells you that no, we are not converting in your display ads. They doesn't contribute. Have you heard that? Yes. What we see in the cases that we are doing this algorithmic attribution on is that display ads are strongly underestimated because they play a much more important role than these simple classic methods to measure influence are showing. So the first client in Norway to ESV Dynamo, that's a combination of a big advertiser and a publisher. That the publisher wants to know their contribution in the media mix. They want to show, and they are taking the risk. Maybe the display is not working so well, but they are quite sure that the display have a stronger role to driving the traffic into the conversion path than last click and the other models really are showing. And what are the media buying agency? How do they allocate the media spending? They are doing it on very often traditional, historical, maybe agreements. So they allocate the media on behalf of the advertisers on not this insight. They are doing it in really, they are guessing what is working. And that's a problem for all publishers, that they are just guessing. They think TV is still very, very important, but maybe, as we know, TV is losing more and more effect, and we are, when the ad on TV is showing, we are maybe using the iPad. So we are on Facebook while the TV ads are on the screen. And how can you measure that? And how can you synchronize your digital marketing so we can have more effect as an advertiser through the channels? So, algorithmic attribution. I will try to explain this quite technical technology because it's based on heavy mathematics, it's based on heavy statistics, and it's a quite complicated technology, but it's not so complicated to explain the benefits for the advertisers and the publishers. First of all, algorithmic attribution can measure the performance of each channel. We are, when we start to work with a client, we have maybe 2 weeks of setting up the tracking. And the tracking is on the website. So every element, every campaign in the digital other channels, they are tracked because they are, normally they are pointing towards the website. So we want to see each touch points during this customer journey between all the digital channels. And then we are able to measure the performance of each channel. Then it's important to understand the interactions and the synergies between channels. And last click is not giving you this answer. This is just an answer that you can have from algorithmic attributions. And we know that marketing channels are interdependent. There is nothing, if you take the display ads out of a media mix of maybe 7 channels, you will have a different influence in front of the conversions. It can, some of the digital channels are creating a relationship on brand awareness. Some of the channels are promoting the discovery of the products, and some of them are finalizing the conversions. They have different roles in the media mix. When we attribute, we can define the role of each lever and see how it integrates with each other. So advertisers encourage the synergies and by associating the channels, how they work together. We can duplicate conversions for an exact calculations, not on RIO, but ROI. Now we talk about our return on media investment. That's the more specific KPI for our business. And you can segment your customers to better understand them. And we have seen when we allocate, let's say we have 5 million Norwegian kroner to invest in different digital channels. Attribution works like this. The 2 first months, we are collecting data. After 2 months, we have enough data to start the attribution process, to analyze, to see what or which channels are really making influence towards the defined KPIs. The KPIs for the advertiser can be revenue, it can be conversion, it can be click, it could be downloading, it could be anything. We have a dashboard for each client that the numbers from the media investments are reporting up to. So you can see your revenue in real time, you can see the conversion rate in real time, you can see what medias are contributing to achieve these goals. And you can understand the path of conversions. That's also an insight that can really improve your marketing. To me, it makes no sense to know what's the last click are. I'm finished with this old-fashioned way to measure because it doesn't give me any insight to really allocate the mix between the different channels. The real insight is to know what I've been presenting for you now. It's what or which channels are really contributing. And what I think, this is my last foil, what I think is that when we are here today, we can hear about game-changing technologies for publishers, for banks, for retailers. There is a lot of game-changing technology out there. I think the one who wins the race is the best communicator. You have to explain the benefits. It has to be a proven technology. You have to be confident with the companies that is going to deliver these business-critical systems. And if you find good companies to work with, like Csense, like this kind of technology, you can really start to improve, not next year, but you can improve very fast. And you can make an advantage that your competitors do not have. So that's what we are putting up in Norway. And next year we are going out of Norway in the Nordics and be this part of this international group. I can use good tech people in London, in France, data analysts. So what I offer to the Norwegian advertisers today is not a company that is 3 months old. It's a company established in 2004, starting with search, and has been developing towards these attributic algorithms. And to me, today, there is no insight as an advertiser that gives you the right instrument to really improve. That's algorithm. Thank you.